Half a million people could lose their jobs depending on how the trade war goes. It's like, that's huge.
Trauma is internalized and then becomes part of your DNA.
We're leaving this country. It's over.
And a decision like that should not be made solely based on emotion.
What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2018. I'm still here. All right, Best Podcast News Award winner, given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show for dads, fathers, and male caregivers that is sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And as always, I'd like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. We're broadcasting live on Monday, June 16th. And second half of June has already started, family. And I think I had said this last week. The summer solstice happens on the 21st. I'm up during the evening time, and it's getting dark later and later and later. But by next week, this time, the days start getting shorter in my area of the world. So that is a little crazy. Want to know how everyone's doing? For those who celebrated it, did you do any celebrating on Father's Day? Did a lot of good stuff. Oh, Yannick Russell is in the house. Yannick Russell, I'm trying to get a hold of you, but then you show up when I'm online. Oh, you treat me so bad, Yannick. You treat me so bad. Oh, my goodness, you treat me so bad. But you know what? I still care and love you lots. It's all good. It's all good. Father's Day, great weekend. I had mentioned, I don't know if people were on Monday, probably chat about it on the weekend. I had a relative come up. I hadn't seen him for a long time, and he was staying at one of my cousin's places, and he asked me for some phone numbers. I said, hey, well, what are you doing this weekend? And he said, oh, I'm just coming in, hanging out with a cousin for a bit. So we had the opportunity to hang out at my dad's place for a little bit. Then he stayed over at my cousin's place last night. And then we all got together yesterday, went out, had some good food, celebrated Father's Day with my dad. So it was just a really, really wonderful day. And then last night we hosted a conversation about the state of Black fatherhood and the state of Black fathers on Black Men Can Talk. Had a full weekend. So it was all good. It was all good. And all the better of it. All the better of it. So I see there are people already jumping in. I'm going to do something real quick. Sorry, 47 announcing. Let me just I'm just doing this in real time because, again, for those who don't know, we're running a new software. So we're fooling around with it and seeing how it's happening. So I'm just going to do something in real time in a little bit, but we're going to be fine. All right. So Yannick Russell says, good morning, Dr. Vibe. Yes, we keep missing each other, but we will connect this week. Should I reach out to you, Yannick? Or should you reach out to me? That's what I need to know. What is the best way? Because I don't want to stalk you. Let's put it that way. I don't want to be looked at as a stalker. So you tell me the best way you can to get a hold of you. So you can say it in the comments. If you notice on your screen, whether you're watching live in the replay, got the QR code in the corner. Now, if you want to just swipe with your phone, it will take you right to the Dr. Vibe Show YouTube channel where you can watch replays of epic conversations that I have hosted. I am going to say to my producer, hold on just a second. I'm having fun here, but I don't want to have too much fun. So I just want to see what we're going to do here. You know what? No, we'll probably Yeah, I'll do it verbally. All right. I want to ask people, today's the 10-year anniversary of something. Do you know what it is? What's the 10-year anniversary of today? And if I don't get any answers, I'll give you clues as we go on. What is it? I didn't realize. Well, I found this out yesterday watching a show online. It's a 10-year anniversary of something. Let's see if anyone has any guesses of the 10-year anniversary of. People going, what? Like it's Monday morning. Matt Duffy, good morning, Matt, says the 10-year anniversary of 10 years passing. I like that, Matt. That's cool. Yes, I know. It's nice answer, smart answer, but not correct. Let's see, does anyone else have any guesses? Let me give a hint. It's the 10-year anniversary of a certain individuals who is a lot of people dislike, announcing that he was going to do something. So there's what is it? He's a gentleman that's very prominent. Many people talk about him all the time. 10 years ago, he announced he was going to do something. Not the greatest way of giving the clue, but is this man orange? Matt Duffy says. Yes, he is orange. So I think with that, it should give you a better hint or better get you closer to the answer. What it is the 10-year anniversary of? What is it the 10-year anniversary of? Now, I didn't type this. 47 becoming president? No, but close. Wow. This is interesting. Is someone taking over my account? Because I haven't written any of this stuff. So that's interesting. All right. Let me tell you, it was 10 years ago today that 47 announced he'd be running for president of the United States. 10 years. Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. How's the last 10 years been for the world? Has it been good? We don't know. So we're still here, by the way. We are still alive. There are a lot of people thought that when he got elected the first time, it'd be Armageddon. And then the second time, who knows? Oh, good morning, Art Lee Creative Energy Agency. Good morning. Good morning. Good to see you here this morning. Hope you had a great weekend. That is no problem. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. All right. So it's been 10 years since 47 has been president. No, not president. Now, let me correct that. It was 10 years ago he announced he'd run for president of the United States, and he's been in twice. Interesting. I was watching a show online in the last few days saying that they were saying that Barack Obama should come back and run again. What do you think about that? I don't know and again, I don't live in America, so I don't know the Constitution 100%. Is he allowed to run again? Or does the Constitution say that you can't run for 2 consecutive terms? I'm not familiar with that, but there's a lot of people in 47's camp that want him to run again for president. And I think I don't know if you can be president more than twice. Well, I don't know if it's concurrently or twice separately. Not sure about that. All right. We are going to go. Okay. Yannick Russell says, I will give you a call for sure. Good. I'll be waiting for your call. Fantastic. All right. We have another epic conversation happening today. In the next few minutes, we're going to talk about international real estate. Oh, Matt Duffy says, I don't think the second term people can go for a third, but I know 47 is wanting to try and break that rule. Yep, he's a rule breaker. Now, sometimes rule breakers can be good, but not all the time. And a lot of people say the rules that he is breaking are not good for the country of America. So that is the take. All right. We're going to be talking about international real estate today. And one of our two friends is here. I'm wondering how our other friend is doing, but we have Ray McMillan. And for those people who've been around for a minute or an hour, Ray used to come on the Morning Vibe Monthly and talk about real estate, mortgages, etc. His plate is always full, and he's also pulled back a bit, but he is now just more into development, international real estate. But he does make time. He does make time to come and hang out with us. And we have always epic conversations offline. Sometimes you'd like to hear those, but those are vault conversations. Those stay in the vault. They ain't coming out. So Ray will be back, and hopefully Laura Lala Key will join us. I don't know what's going on with her this morning, but I hope she is okay. I'm just going to check my phone. I did send her a message. So let me just see if I'm going to check in to see how she's doing. Okay, haven't heard from her, but at least we have Ray here. So we'll be back in 30 seconds talking about international real estate. Have your questions ready because I've got a lot of them. We'll be back in 30 seconds. Aisha K. Staggers and Laura Lala Key are in the house. What is up?
The thing that Democrats should take away from the loss isn't what Harris did wrong so much, so as what they did wrong.
And I'm going to tell you right now, we are the ones who are going to have to save our own selves. Don't be looking for some white man to come and save you.
The people who created the phrase "stay woke" are like woke ideology. We would have never put those together. And then what is that ideology? Oh, you mean differences? Oh, you mean people who aren't like you?
Yes, that is Primetime Saturday with Aisha K. Saggers and Laura Lala Key. At least on Saturday she was here. And they're on every Saturday afternoon, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 p.m. Pacific, trying to make sense of the nonsense that's going on in America. So a few more comments. We've got Raul Adams says, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Ray. And Art Lee Creative Agency says, Ray is the man, always learning something new from him. Well, you don't put pressure on my brother. Don't put pressure on my brother. All right, and let's do some housework before we get started. Subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show and hit the notification button. And we're close to 1,840 subscribers. We're just a little bit away. So if you haven't subscribed, please, if you're up to it, subscribe on the Dr. Vibe Show YouTube channel and hit the notification button so you get notified of upcoming epic conversations. Also, like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram and TikTok. Join the Morning Vibe Discord group. Email me at dr.vibe@thedrbeshow.com. And you can also click on the link that's in the Discord, that's in the on the screen there, which is Discord, and advertise your business product or service on any of the platforms that I'm a part of. Please email me at dr.vibe@thedrbeshow.com. And then finally, IndieSoup TV, which is powered by our good friend Dr. Tachi out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. It's an independent content creators platform with about 25 to 30 independent content creators. And what you need to do is go subscribe to it because they have almost 30,000 subscribers in the last 14, 15 months. So we are good with that. Now, we have two friends. Lala has just showed up. So she's gonna put stress on my producer, but we're going to talk about international real estate today. So we have two friends up. We have Ray McMillan and Laura Lala Key. So let's see if we can get them up on our screen. So there they are. What is going on? What is going on? You got to unmute yourselves.
Well, part of being international is learning when your time is.
I have clients from overseas. I have clients in California. Yeah. So this morning I start off with, wait a minute, what time is it? So good morning, everybody.
Oh my goodness. Well, you are here. Have no fear. Lala is here. And Mr. McMillan, how are you? Are you happy to see Lala? It's been a while.
Good morning, guys. Good morning, Lala. How you doing,
Good
man?
morning. Good
I
morning. Good
guess
to
you were
see
4 or 5
you, Ray.
hours into your day already.
Yes, I am. I've already put in my 7 miles this morning.
Oh man, that's good. I didn't get a chance to do mine this morning, but tomorrow I'll be back on the grind.
Excellent, excellent. And
I like your new app, Doctor Vibe. This app is a little friendly.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, getting
It's a
good.
little friendlier. Live stream. StreamYard didn't wasn't necessarily always very good to me, you know what I mean? But this application here, it seems to be a little more user friendly.
Well, you know what?
I'm like,
The learning curve is a little bit steeper because I was so used to StreamYard, but myself along with producer Matt, we're mastering it as we go. And as I said, for everybody, one of the nice features is you see above myself, Ray and Lala's picture or image, there's a QR code. So if you want to find out more about any of us, take your phone, scan the QR code. For Ray, will take you to the McMillan Group website, and also for Lala, will take you to her website. So that right there is an advantage that we have.
I like that. That's a great feature.
Love it.
All right. So let's get to it. I want to ask both of you, what inspired each of you to get involved in international real estate?
I just, it's interesting because even before I thought about doing international real estate, anytime husband and I would travel, since I've been in real estate since 2006, I'm one of those looky-loos. I would love to see what other countries had compared to what we have, how they build theirs different than ours, and they do. They build theirs very much different than what America does. So I would always try to go and look at properties, even on vacation, even if it was just one or two. And then I just got really interested in it when we started traveling a whole lot, doing the singing thing. And then when we came to visit Portugal 3 years ago, I found it extremely difficult to find agents. They a lot of them just don't call you back. They do different. They don't have an MLS, things like that. And then I met this one agent in Nazaré who showed me several properties, and we just hit it off. And he looked at me and said, I don't have an American agent to help me. Can you help me? And it just lit up all my buttons. And I said, sure. And that's how I got started.
Nice. Ray, how did you get started in the world of international real estate?
Very similar to Laura. Mine goes back a lot longer than 20 years. I grew up in the Caribbean and we traveled a lot as a child. So I've spent my Easters in Trinidad. I lived in Guyana after coming back from England with my mom when I was a young child. Spent my Easters in Trinidad, Port of Spain. We moved to St. Lucia. And being in South America, we were close to Suriname and Venezuela and that sort of stuff. So, I did a lot of cross-border travel from a very young age, a lot of international travel from a very young age. And quite like Laura, I'm not a tourist, I'm a traveler. So when I get somewhere, my first focus is if I get stuck here, like, the Robinson Crusoe family, can I adapt and adjust and just stay? So I've always had an approach to stuff. And when I moved to Toronto back in the 80s, it was quite a learning curve, going from living in a home to an apartment. Most people in Guyana in the 70s and 80s lived in their own homes. Apartments were not very frequent. I'm working with clients now when I started my own business from all parts of the world. I've got clients from part of Africa, East and West Africa, Central Africa. I've got clients from parts of Europe. We always have great conversations. My first question to them was, why did you leave where you were to come to Canada? And what is it like there? And I remember speaking to a client a few years ago from Colombia, and they were talking about Medellin, you know what I mean? And when you think of Medellin, you think of cartels and drug trades. And then they pulled up some photographs and stuff. This is about probably 10 years ago. And started to show me a lot of stuff in Colombia. And, you know, from then I just got more and more curious of what the opportunities were outside of North America. And the plus to it, it costs a lot less to live in other parts of the world. And I'm pretty sure Laura can attest to that, being in Portugal. There's a lot less cash outlay living in other parts of the world. And people want the information. They want advice. They want to know how to make that move, when to make that move, and where to make the move to. You know, so there's a lot of research involved in guiding clients through that process.
Nice. Anything you want to add, Lala, before I go to the next conversation?
Oh, no. I think Ray's got it right. I mean, I think you're either really a real estate, what they call them, foodies, and people who love food, you're a real estate foodie, or you're not. You know, I mean, you'd love to see houses even when you're not working. You know, I mean, even on Sundays when I didn't have open houses, I would like to and see, you know, what else was in the neighborhood. But that's also a part of what us great in our business. When you have that passion outside of, you would do it for free. That's anything in life. You know, if that passion is there, then you know you have the right person to work with, because I don't know too many other agents, to be honest, that will go and look at other houses when they're taking a day off. It's kind of hard.
Nice. Well, let's get to it right now. What are some of the biggest challenges for someone looking to buy property overseas?
I'll let Ray start with that one.
I think the first thing is if you need to get a mortgage, how do you arrange that? That's the first thing. And the second thing is the residency requirements in each country. I mean, we're going into a whole sovereign country, right? Now, in many parts of the Caribbean, you've got what is called citizenship by investment, CBI programs. So if you're buying a property in, let's say, Antigua, if you're going to spend $250 million, they will give you honorary citizenship. You basically buy your citizenship. But I think the mortgage thing is the biggest challenge. I mean, there are many parts of the world, particularly parts of Europe. If you're buying homes cash, then that's fine. Understanding the legal process. Ownership is held. In some parts of the world, you can't own property if you're a foreigner. So you may love the place, you know, but you can only rent there and many parts of Asia are like that. You can only rent. You wouldn't be able to buy. You've got to live there for X number of years before you can buy property there. So understanding the country that you have an interest in, and understanding what the requirements and limitations are.
Lala?
That's why I wanted Ray to start, because that is those two things are the most difficult for people to understand, or that's their first question. You know, there are a lot of people who want to move abroad. They want to be world citizens, but how do you buy the house? In America, you get a mortgage. You don't have very many people who are walking around with that much cash. So the question is, can you get a mortgage in that country? And how difficult is it? Because even in Portugal, you still have to put down a certain amount since you are an expat in order to move forward with a lot of the local lenders. They need to see what you're making in America. Yes. How are you going to sustain yourself over in Portugal or even Spain? You know, I've got a lot of people moving in different areas, but it is different. And it does sometimes mean different paperwork. And sometimes it means paperwork times 2. And what does that mean, Lala? That means it has to be in the language of the country that you are moving to. Then it must be translated to your native language. So in our case, it would be English. So when you're closing on a house, it needs to be in Portuguese, and you finish with that. And then you have to go and do it again, all in English, so that you have both sets of understanding.
You know what I love? When two people are on, and especially when Ray loves the conversation, he has a big smile and he nods his head. And I saw that. Ray was smiling, says, okay, we're in the right place. We're in the right time. Ray said, okay, we got this. We got this. Anything you want to add to what Lala added on to, Ray?
No, I mean, she hit the nail on the head. I mean, understand that, particularly going to a country with a foreign language, you know, you've got to understand how to read those legal documents. I mean, you're making a very huge investment in many cases. A few $100,000 US. Depends on where you are in the scale. It might be a lot more than that. You want to find a lawyer who's also fluent in your language plus the language of the country. When things are translated, do they lose any meaning in translation? Right? I mean, some things can be translated accurately from one language to the other, right? So you really, it's a lot to go into it if you want to make sure that the process is going to be enjoyable and you wouldn't find hiccups. And I think you have also, life in North America is very easy. We got a lot of very great functioning systems here. And in many parts of the world, things move differently. So you've got to, pack a bit of patience, and adapt to the pace and the environment that you're in, So I think that's one of the first things you've got to raise. And I think I was in a convo last Friday with another group, and I was telling them the same thing. You've got to adapt your energy to the country that you're planning to do business in. If not, you will find yourself in a lot of problems.
Question.
I can say more than that. Like, I got to tap onto that. If you guys don't leave here with anything today, what I want you to remember more than anything else is put your American away. You don't go to somebody else's country and try to establish your Americanship. It doesn't matter there. You are a guest in someone else's homeland. Yeah. You are now the immigrant.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's very difficult for a lot of Americans to do. I mean, you should know that, Rada. It's very challenging for Americans to put away that Americanness when they go to foreign countries and adapt to how that country flows. You know what I mean? Like but hey.
Oh, this is good. This is good so far, so good. Producer Matt has a question, says, Ray and Lala, where would you say was the most interesting place you've traveled?
Oh, we've been all over the place. I've been to Rome twice. I've been blessed enough to say that I've been to the Vatican twice. And even then, it's not enough. There's so much to see, especially with the museum and, the Sistine Chapel. Those things light my fire. So I would say the most interesting place to me was actually the Vatican in Rome. And the first time we went as a married couple, and the second time we took my mother-in-law, I don't like to call her in-law, she's my mom and me, for her 80th birthday. And she had never been to Europe before. It was her first trip. And it was a lifelong dream to take her to the Vatican. And so when she walked into the Sistine Chapel, I will never, ever forget her face. It's something that I cherish. So to me, that is my most interesting.
Nice. Nice. Ray?
Well, I do a lot of photography. So I like the outdoors. I like a lot of the wildlife stuff, So I love South America. Living in Guyana, crossing to Brazil is very, very easy. So you go into places like Boa Vista and Manaus, and you've got the savannas and the rainforest and stuff like that. And just watching how other cultures, simpler cultures, live uncomplicated lives. So while I've traveled to many parts of the developing world, parts of Europe, for me, it's been in parts of South America where I see that simplicity of life, where roads are made out of dirt, and if the rain falls, your truck may get stuck in the mud and that sort of stuff, and you gotta jump out there and forget your fancy loafers in your foot and push it. You know what I mean? So for me, it's actually been crossing from Guyana into parts of Brazil by road, in a regular pickup truck, and just seeing that very, very natural life.
Nice. There's a comment here. I just want to pick it up. There we go. So Inspired Thought says the Vatican is incredible.
You can't listen. Walking through one time, not even twice, there's just no way you can see all the amazing things there. I know that there's a lot of controversy about how a lot of things there doesn't belong to them. And you're always going to have controversy with that. but to see it. There is something special, especially if you're an American, because America's not that old. We are a baby country. We are a baby country. We're getting ready to celebrate 250 years. That's nothing in the scheme of Europe. So when you are looking at things from the 11th century, the 12th century, that there is massive history behind it. So it's quite amazing and it's quite different. And sometimes it'll surprise you. You see all these history shows and all of that. And you think that Michelangelo picture and all these things are absolutely huge. And you get there and you go, wait a minute, that's like the size of a postage stamp, So it's just amazing to see those things. And the Vatican is one that has just a treasure trove of everything.
Nice. Let me ask both of you. Well, let me do a reset. We're here with Ray McMillan and Laura Lala. We're talking about the world of international real estate. If you have questions, bring them in. Inspired Thought says, nor does television do the Vatican justice.
True.
There you go. Even though it seems like it's a long time ago, but maybe it isn't, how has the world of international real estate changed post-pandemic?
Oh, I'm not going to hog all this. I'm going to let Ray go first.
It exploded. It showed people that it created a sort of a global platform for a lot of people. I mean, my son travels a lot, Stefan. During the pandemic, I traveled quite a bit, actually. I was in the plane probably every month going somewhere. I think people start seeing things. And then you got to remember that North America is an immigrant society. Everybody's from somewhere else. I mean, we may have been there. Some have been there here longer than others, but a lot of us, our roots are someplace else. So what a lot of people to do is start going back to where their grandparents and their great-grandparents, probably their parents came from. And that means going back to parts of Europe, parts of Asia, parts of the African continent. And people are able to work remotely, effortlessly. Because a lot of times we think of many parts of the world, we think that there's not enough technology for me to access Wi-Fi or do banking. And that is so far from the truth. I mean, the African continent has cities that look a lot like New York City, right? You go to parts of Asia, you go to you go to Manila in the Philippines. I mean, these are large cities with millions of people, 10, 50 million people. So what it allows people to do is see that there's an option apart from living in North America or the United Kingdom or parts of the more common cities in Europe. The places like Granada, Spain, and Porto in Portugal. 10 years ago, people couldn't find those places on the map, right? And so this created a whole boom and a lot of opportunity, in many parts of the world where you can and then, it gives you a first-hand view of the culture and the climate and all those great things. I mean, Florida is great, but I mean, Granada and Porto is a whole lot better. I see that rolling the ride, you know what I mean?
I am just not a Florida girl. I can't. I tried my very best to love Florida. I just had a very hard time there. I'm from Kentucky. We do have, a lot of humidity, but I didn't live in the best part of Florida. So I experienced a lot of what we see in America politically. So I couldn't get out of there fast enough.
A conversation piece. Are there places where foreign ownership is especially easy or difficult?
Well, Portugal is very easy. You can buy without citizenship in Portugal.
You're kidding.
You can buy a property. And they'll also kind of help you a little bit if you're trying to buy a ruin and bring it back to life. There are plans for that for a lot of little villages that they want to have them thrive again. When you come into Portugal, there's a lot of little bitty places that are just so quaint and beautiful. And you have these beautiful homes that they remodeled right next to a ruin. And they're trying to bring more people in for that. So Portugal is one of the countries that is fairly easy to buy at the moment. Because there has been a political shift here. And now because of what's going on in America as well, they are rethinking and revamping this because a lot of the Portuguese people are feeling like they are being pushed out of the real estate market. It's too high because Americans, Brits, Indians, everyone been coming over and just buying in cash and just paying anything because it's more affordable than their country. So that has kind of outpriced them.
Wow. Wow. Ray?
Yeah, I mean, yes, a lot of like the whole but Europe in general. I mean, parts of Italy, parts of Spain, it's the same thing. I mean, these countries have got history going back several centuries. If you look at a lot of the homes in the UK, built more than 100 years ago, and if they've been abandoned or not maintained, you can buy them for pennies on the dollar. It's also very easy in the Caribbean to buy real estate. For the Caribbean, the dependency on foreign assets is very prevalent. So in a lot of parts of the Caribbean, having foreigners come in with foreign dollars, whether it's euros, pounds, or US dollars, and buy property, it allows a level of development which would be a lot slower if we were only dependent on the local population. I mean, most of the smaller islands, I mean, Jamaica is a bit of an anomaly. You've got 4 or 5 large cities in Jamaica, and they've got a very, very diverse economy going beyond tourism. I mean, they've got a very efficient and effective banking system in Jamaica and a stock exchange and all that good stuff. You get into the small islands like St. Kitts and Nevis and Dominica and St. Vincent. Those are basically one town, one city islands. And once you leave the main city, I mean, the rest of the place is pretty rural and pretty quiet, but they're beautiful. So the challenge with building in the Caribbean, if you leave the major urban core, is getting materials out. You've got to get stuff on trucks. You've got to use small vehicles. It takes you a lot longer to build. But once one person starts to build, then more people come, particularly the expats and the foreigners. I was in Grenada for a few months, I think about a year ago, and I was in the northern part of the island, and I stumbled into this very, very quiet enclave. And when I walked in and saw the homes that were being built there, I was blown away. I mean, you had these homes sitting on the beachfront. Everything around was very rural, but in this little enclave, about probably like a 4 or 5 acre enclave, you had these beautiful homes right on the water, where you can watch the sunrise and the sunset. But yeah, it's a lot easier. You've got to remember, the US dollar is a pretty strong currency. It's pretty much accepted almost anywhere in the world. And when you convert, if you sell an asset in North America and move to parts of Europe or parts of the Caribbean, you might not get a lot of pushback. There's no real political pushback to Americans buying in the Caribbean. And hopefully there isn't. I mean, the Caribbean needs access to those dollars.
Okay, let me ask then also, what makes a good investment in international real estate?
That's tough because it depends on what country you go to, really. It really does. In Portugal, everyone loves the ocean. So anything along the Silver Coast, Lisbon, Porto, Nazaré, you're going to get coastal. But then there's also huge benefits when you move inland because that's where they make the wine production. And it's also a little bit closer to Spain. So in Portugal, it is about your location. And unlike some countries, there are still a lot of standalone homes here, whereas there are some countries such as, Rome, that they're all apartments. It's very hard to get a single family home outside of the city, in city limits. It's so congested. It's still kind of free and country here, but it all depends on what country you're going to and what is of the most importance, and the tax benefits.
Okay. Anything you want to add, Ray?
Yeah. I think it depends on your purpose, why you're buying the property. Are you buying it as a second home? Are you planning to relocate? Are you buying a vacation property? I use the analogy, the what, the where, the when, the why. Like what do you plan to buy? Are you planning to buy a villa? Something that you can live in part and rent part of it out. Where you want to buy it? You want it away from the maddening crowd and all the noise. You want to be in the midst of all the happenings. You want to be out on the beach somewhere. As Laura said, you want to be close to the vineyards and that sort of stuff. So the where is very, and the why. Like, why are you buying this? Do you plan to be there? Do you plan to be there just a month a year because your current lifestyle doesn't allow you to be there, and then have the place as you don't like, okay, what am I planning to do with this? Do I want to pick it up? And that's why it's very important when you plan to buy somewhere else that you speak to someone who's actually boots on the ground there. I can advise you, what the options are. I mean, I have had clients tell me they want to buy a property somewhere, and they have no clue what the short-term rental rates are in that environment, right? And it's not hard to get that information. You go to any short-term rental website and put in your description, your home size, and the amount of amenities, your number of bedrooms, and you can get a pretty good sense of what your revenue will be. But I think it's very important to have a game plan because, I mean, the challenge with buying real estate where you aren't from originally is that if things go sideways, it can become a very, very costly mistake.
Nice. Got some more comments here. Good morning, Opal Inspired, who's in the house. Follow her creations on her YouTube channel. And Unique Russ says, great insights. Opal Inspired is going right in saying, how expensive is the cost of living in Portugal?
Well, let me tell you something. It depends on where you choose to live. The cost of living over here is much less than what it is in America. Now, let me tell you, we just got back from Kentucky. Eggs, that's one of the things that we definitely watch over is, let's see, we bought 18 eggs and it was $9 at the regular grocery store. In Portugal, you can get 24 for $4. So that kind of gives you a little, and you might have a little chicken feather on it because it's not gone through all that processing. All right. So that's an indicator to tell you the difference. Now, places like, or cities like Lisbon and Porto and the Algarve, which is the southern part of Portugal, they are more expensive than when you are buying outside of those areas. Those are like your New York Cities, your Los Angeles. I would say Lisbon is compared to New York City. I would say Porto is like LA. And I would say Nazaré is about normal, right in the middle of it all. And so it just depends on where you live. Now, the Algarve, most expats, and I hate that term. I really do hate expatriate because I'm not an ex-American. I'm not an ex-anything. I'm a world citizen. But, when you're buying in places like Algarve, where most of the expats settle, you're right back to America prices. So it depends on where you choose to plant your roots.
Nice. All right. I think Ray.
I want to make a comment on something that Laura just said, Dr. Vide.
Yeah.
She mentioned the word world citizen. And that's very, very important. I always see myself as a world citizen. I am British born, but I'm not British. I'm Caribbean raised. You know what I mean? I think it's very important today for those of us who have the ability to get multiple passports to get them. I'm a big proponent of that. I mean, we have a lot of these off-camera conversations where I talked about that a lot. So if you've got Caribbean heritage or European heritage through a grandparent or a parent, I would strongly recommend you get that passport from that country. The freedom it allows you, it gives you so many options in life that, the sky's the limit. My mother's Guyanese, my father's Grenadian. I spent 35 years in Canada. I currently live in Florida, and I was born in the UK. So I've got, all these options when it comes to where I want to, put down my next stake, right? And while I might be currently in Florida, I might not be here 3 months from now or 6 months from now. I mean, I might end up going to Ghana and living in Ghana, or going to the Philippines and living in the Philippines. You know what I mean? So if you've got that option through direct bloodline of getting residency or citizenship of another country, I strongly recommend you do it, because the world is changing very quickly. And some of those changes aren't for the best. They're actually for the worst. You don't want to get caught in the outside looking in.
I'm just good old Kentucky, and I'm just a good old country girl. That's all I got.
Okay, I love it. I love it. I love it. So just to reset, we're speaking with Laura Lala Key and Ray McMillan about international real estate. Provide your questions in the chat. So Unique Russell says, so true, Ray. Fitness IQ, good morning, says, morning, everyone, and happy belated Father's Day to the gentleman. And then Opal Inspire says, thank you for Lala answering her question. Unique Russell says, thank you also, and also says, yes. So you can tell Unique Russell is a big supporter of Ray McMillan. Okay, so it's all good. Again, and I know, Ray, you may have touched it, but I may want to go a little bit deeper. How do each of you assess the risk versus reward in unfamiliar markets?
Well, if you don't do your research, that is a massive risk. If you just get so excited about a place and you don't do the research, you're going to get there and not enjoy the experience. You really must understand the culture and decide that you're going to be a part of that community. You don't want to just move somewhere and just want to just be in your own home, just expect people to speak English. You know, everything is supposed to be like you were supposed to when you grow up. If you don't open your mind, that's your risk. The reward is if you do open your mind. Oh, the new experiences you will have. One of the very favorite things that I love to do is to go and visit as many castles as possible. I am a castle chick. I love to go and see the history. I love to do that. And these are things that I'm used to seeing as growing up. Fatima, the story of Fatima and the 3 children and the Mother Mary, that's down the road. Like, I can go there at any time and know that history. So there are risks if you don't open your mind and you're not open to making yourself a part of the community. But the reward for being a part of the community is great.
Okay. Ray?
Yeah, that is so true. And I said earlier, I'm traveling, not a tourist. When I go somewhere, I immerse myself in the local culture. I want to go to the market. I want to jump on regular transit. I'm not jumping in any fancy air-conditioned taxi. I want to move around the same way the average folk moves around there. And now with Airbnbs and short-term rentals, easy to go somewhere and not stay in a hotel. I think a hotel really clouds your perception of an environment. A hotel in any part of Africa, and a hotel in New York City, it's not much different. You've got room service, there's a bar downstairs, there's a restaurant, a gym, and a pool, and it's an air-conditioned room. If you want to really get a part of that environment and that country, you want to go and live, like the way regular folks live. And it may include some inconveniences. I mean, some countries there's water supply issues. There might be a blackout sometimes because of different issues. You may have mosquitoes, you may have a few bugs here and there, but that's what it is. So if you are not prepared to be in that environment, then you may as well stay in your North American city. And then be nice to local people. I said my son went to the Philippines last year, Philippines and Japan, and he was sharing his experience with me. They didn't stay in a hotel. They stayed in a regular home in a regular neighborhood just outside of Manila. And the experience was very similar to being in parts of the Caribbean, with the exception of the language. I've got a friend of mine who just moved to Panama, and he was just sharing with me how he retired to Panama and what it's like, and he's encouraging me to come. My challenge is, I've got a language limitation, so I never managed to. My mom speaks several languages, but I didn't get that language gene. Right? So I didn't get the language gene. You know, so I tend to go to places where there's some amount of English being spoken, because and I'm going to use Laura's term. If you live in an expat community, where everybody from you is from parts of Europe or England, France, they may speak some English, but if you really want to enjoy life in that country, you got to be able to speak the local language, because the expat communities can be very, very cloistered. It's like very, very controlled environments, and everybody has a similar background, similar experience. If you really want to be on the ground and do regular things, you would have to be able to speak that local language very fluently. I want to be able to talk to my market vendors or my fish vendor and get ideas on what kind of fish to eat locally and how to cook it and that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And the fact that Mark might not give you that experience.
Nice. Well, she's in the house. Dr. Tati says, good morning, all, and also says she loves this conversation. Well, that's why you're here, because it's a great conversation. For both of you, are there tax implications for owning property abroad?
I'll let Ray start.
I'm not a tax accountant. There's a disclaimer. Let me give you that first disclaimer. But if you plan to buy property overseas, now some countries require you to file an income tax return if you spend more than a certain amount of time in that country. The Canadian and U.S. government require you to file tax returns once you leave, even if you leave America. If that property is an income generating property, you may have to report that income to the IRS or the CRA. I would suggest you sit down with a tax accountant and a tax lawyer who understands international tax laws and have a very serious conversation. And anytime you change the use of the property, you pivot. You want to have that conversation with them, because you may make a change that may appear to be very, very simple, but it could have long-reaching implications with the tax bodies in both Canada, the US, or even the UK. So I'm not going to dig too deep into that part of the conversation. I mean, I've got assets in the Caribbean, in Guyana. I've got assets in Canada. I've got assets in the US. So my tax return is very, very complicated.
All right.
Ditto, and I always have to say, just like Ray, we are not tax professionals, so therefore, we're not allowed to advise you on that. But you do need to make sure that you have a full understanding of what that means for you, because in each country, as we have said before, we cannot drill this home enough. There are different implications that you may have with that. In Portugal, yes, you do pay property taxes. And then it also depends on what you're doing with that property. And if you just assume that you're going to come over and live there maybe half a year and then Airbnb it out maybe the next 6 months, you better do your research very hard, because even in some areas, they go back and forth on if you're allowed to do Airbnb and not. Europeans are very exhausted with people coming and buying properties and then turning them all into rentals. And that's a tax implication as well. So understand that what you're going to plan to do with that property, and then consult a local, not an American, not, you want to make sure you speak to someone who speaks your native language as well, so they can help understand what that implication is going to be with those property taxes in whatever country you move to.
Love it. All right. So,
and I love what Laura's saying for property taxes. So I'm Dr. Black. Like here in Florida, for example, in parts of the US, you always call it homestead taxes. So if you're going to live in a home, your taxes are homesteaded, and that property tax amount annually is significantly less than if that property is going to be occupied by a non-resident, or it's going to be an income property. And I mean, I got blindsided a few years ago when I started buying property in Florida, and I saw these taxes for $800 a year. And I'm like, oh man, this is sweet. And then I started putting tenants in those properties, and my tax bill jumped up to almost $3,000 a year. That's like a 400% increase, right? No, I didn't know that. I mean, I just learned that the hard way. No, haven't had that experience. I can share it with you. So, and I'm pretty sure it's probably the same thing in many other parts of the world, where there's a tiered property tax system for local residents, foreigners, and for the type of use of that property, whether it's owner occupied or it's an income generating property. You know what I mean?
Good stuff. So up on the screen there's where you can get a hold of Lala. And also I'll ask my producer to put up Ray's contact information if you can. And you, again, if you're watching this live on replay, if you have, I think they call these a smartphone, and you can swipe the QR code above each one of them, and it'll take you to their contact information. To both of you, thank you so much. You know we're going to be in touch. But as always, don't just manage your time, manage your energy, and remember to give yourself grace. And thank you for allowing a dream of mine to come true so much.
Well, I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having us.
Have a great day. Rest of your day. Be
Thank
well.
you very much. Thank you, Laura, for spending your morning with me. I appreciate it.
And I enjoyed it too.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. All right. So we're going right into now evaluation. So if you are watching this on the Dr. Vibe Show YouTube channel, I'd love you to rate the conversation from 1 to 5. 1 means it wasn't that great. To 5, oh, see, it's already coming up. There you go. So if you're watching on the YouTube channel, just rate it from 1 to 5, hit enter, and we get instant reaction on that. So I'm seeing 5s. Well, I'd expect nothing than 5s. I see if I could add a 6 if I could do that, or a 10. But that is absolutely fantastic. So the people have spoken. Fantastic. Love it, love it, love it, love it, 100%. All right. So that is it today for today's conversation. As always, I want to thank everyone who took time to watch live on the replay. It's appreciated, not taken for granted. So a few last things. Oh, I think we're good. Yeah, we're good. Excellent. As always, if you want, well, not if you want, please subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show channel on YouTube and hit the notification button. Want to get to 1,840 by this Friday, if we can do that, or tell other people about it, share it out, etc. Like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and TikTok. Also, join the Discord group. Please email me at dr.vibe@vibeshow.com. There's the link on TikTok. And also, advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms that I'm on. Please, again, email me dr.vibe@vibeshow.com. If you want to get in contact with Ryan Knight, his website is ryanoneilknight.com, and that's Knight with a KN, not an N. And LinkedIn, Ryan O'Neill Knight. Instagram at ryan.knight99. Again, Knight with the KN. And also email him, work with me at ryanoneilknight.com. Website for myself, the drvibeshow.com. YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, The Dr. Vibe Show. Instagram at The Dr. Vibe Show. X at drvibeshow. And email, I've said that a few times, email. Let's go to Substack. So Dr. Vibes on Substack at drvibe.substack.com/subscribe. And then on Blue Sky at drvibe.bsky.social, and you can watch replays of this epic conversation on the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, Afro-Caribbean Business Network on Facebook, and Ryan O'Neill Knight on YouTube. Finally, live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions, then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourself grace. And if you're not making money, make history, but try to do both, and then make it better. As always, God bless, peace, well, keep the faith, while good, and thank you, producer Matt, for making it all happen. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
This whole thing of using your business with plant-based products, don't you think your life should reflect that too?
Juke him, Carolyn. Juke him. The family loves us here because they're saying Fitness IQ Can says put a wig on to get in.
Ah! Oh my God.
Like the ideas are just coming fast and furious here this morning. What? Okay, look at this. Global Women Ambassador. Good morning. Look forward. Okay.